And that is 81 times 5, 405, minus 36 times 10, 360 is 45. Everybody good? Excuse me. Area is length times width, which is 6 cube root 40 times 2 cube root 135. Simplify first. 8 times 5, 12 cube root 5 times 5 goes into that. That's 27. 27 times 5, which is 6 cube root 5, which is 72 cube root 25. Tricky here. I put these questions in because some of you get into this groove where you see squared times squared and they cancel each other out. But that doesn't work in cube and cube, does it? Because 25 does not have a cube root. If you want to get rid of cubes, it's cube root of 27 times the cubed root of 27 does not have it disappear. Expand and simplify, that is root 48 minus root 16, which is 4 root 3 minus 4. You could go one further than that. That is also 4 bracket cube root 3 minus 1. That would get you the 3. That would get you a 4. But if you don't remember factoring, that's okay, because guess what the third unit is? Review of factoring. So if you don't understand or can't remember how I got from the green to the pink, have no fear, you'll see it in the next unit. This is 2 root 60 minus 8 root 50, which is 4 times 15 and 25 times 2. Sorry, that's plus, which is 8 root 15 plus 40 root 2, where you would stop. That you could simplify right now. I would. That becomes 2 root 11 times 3 root 2 minus 5 root 2 plus 16 times 2 plus 12 root 2. Then, of course, you simplify in there. 2 root 11 times negative 2 root 2 plus 12 root 2, 10 root 2, which gets you 20 root 22. And that's where you stop, because that's 2 times 11. This one is root 10 minus 12 root 6 minus root 24 minus 2 root 90. That negative, of course, changes everything here. So that becomes root 10 minus 12 root 6 minus root 24 plus 2 root 90. Then you simplify root 10 minus 12 root 6 minus 2 root 6 plus 6 root 10 to get 7 root 10 minus 14 root 6. That is 4. Oh, simplify first. 4 plus 3 root 3 times 1 minus 2 root 3. 4 minus 8 root 3 plus 3 root 3 minus 18, which gets you negative 5 root 3 minus 14, or of course negative 14 minus 5 root 3. That is root 6 plus 2 plus 3 plus root 6, 2 root 6 plus 5, 4 root 6 minus root 2 times 4 root 6 minus root 2 is 16 times 6 is 96, minus 4 root 12 minus 4 root 12 plus 2, which is 98, minus 8 root 12, which is 98 minus, out comes a 2, 16 root 3. That is 2 root 12. No. Yeah, sure, you could do that. 2 root 12 plus root 24. Then, of course, you would simplify to get 4 root 3 plus 2 root 6 times 4 root 3 plus 2 root 6 to get 16 times 3 is 48 plus 8 root 18 plus 8 root 18 plus 4 times 6 is 24. 72 plus 16 root 18, 72 plus 48 root 2. Whew, getting tired. 5 minus 1 is 4. And 4 times 6 is 24, minus 2 is 22. And that's it, right? Whew! My brain's on fire. Not feeling very well. Still, I can't get rid of this cold. I blame you guys, your germ factories. And then my kids go to school, which is a germ factory. And my wife's a teacher, which is a germ factory. My whole house should be quarantined. It's like that movie Wreck, which none of you saw because that's the original version of the movie Quarantine, which all of you probably did see. Wreck is way scarier. It's a Spanish version of that movie. If you haven't seen it, don't. It's really gross and scary. It's way worse than Quarantine, but better, if you know what I mean. You all know what I mean, right? When something is worse but better? Okay. Now, I did not check homework. Did anybody want to ask about any of those? I went pretty quickly. Sweet. Moving along. To review, you are intelligent young people. 3x times 4x is what? 12x squared. Why? Because you multiply the coefficients, then you multiply the arguments, said the girl who wasn't here the last week. So 3 root 5 times 4 root 7 must be what? 35. Abso-smurfly correct, right? Now, has something now happened twice in math class? If something happens twice in math class, what can we usually guarantee? That it will always happen. So therefore, using your own logic, 6 root 9 divided by 2 root 3, what is the answer? 3 root 3. Everybody got it? Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Right? Now, what is weird about that value? I know it's blue, I'm getting it back. What is weird about that value? It'll come up. Pause instead of wreck. Get it? Wreck, the movie, because it was REC, record. That's pause. Nothing. What's weird about that highlighted value? What? It's a square root of 3, right? What's weird about that? It's what? There is no square root of 3. That's an irrational number, right? I know it's blue again. We're just talking. Is there such a thing as a square root of 3? No. Because it's a decimal that goes on forever and ever 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 and ever. Right? So this means, in reality, 3 times the square root of 3. Yes? And that's easy. We can follow that. We understand that, right? Okay. Now, what do you think is this answer? 6 root 15 over 2 root 7. I haven't told you what to do with that, but make an educated guess. What do you think? What can you tell me about that? What I just wrote up there in gray. It's going to be 3. And then it would be the root of 15 over 7, correct? Everybody cool with that? Now, isn't that 15 over 7 the same as saying 3 times the root of 15 over the root of 7? Is everybody okay with that? Right? Because just like exponents, if the root sign is over everything, it applies to everything. Everybody agree? Okay. What is 3 really? How should 3 really be written if we weren't lazy? 3 over 1, right? And what math is happening right there? Between a coefficient and something else. Multiply. So this is really 3 root 15 over the root of 7. Is everybody cool with that? Everybody can follow me from the gray to the green, yes? What is weird about that? It doesn't exist, right? If I said, I've got a pizza here, and we're going to divide it by the square root of 7, how many times will I have to cut that pizza? Can I even do it? Why not? Does the root of 7 exist? Can you tell me how many times I will cut that pizza? No, because this division, this divisor, goes on forever, doesn't it? So, much like negative exponents, does that make sense? Does it make any sense to divide by something that doesn't exist? No, and we already know this, because can we divide by 0? No. So we know when we see this, we know in our head of heads that that makes no sense, correct? What part of that makes no sense? The dividing by root 7, right? Because how can you divide something up that way? Everyone agree? Math guys agree with you as well. They don't like this. No irrationals allowed in denominators. And we're going to talk about how to fix it in a minute, where I've got more room. Let's start with this one. You're intelligent young people. What is the answer here? Three root 3. Why, Jashin? 9 over 3 equals 3. And the root of 18 divided by the root of 6 equals 3. Since it's all under a root, it stays under a root. Agreed? Great. What is this one? Does the 15 have any business happening to it? So it stays the same. Root what? Five x squared. Is that it? Am I done under the radical sign? Yes. Am I done the question? Why not? What size group of factors am I looking for? 2. Is there a group of 2 under there? Is there a group of 2 under there? Thank you. So what comes out? X. So it is 15x root 5. Can everybody get to there on A and B? Is everybody good? Joran? No, because we took out the pair of x's. So there's one x that came out. Is everybody good? Pretty easy, right? B has a couple of tricks, but we're cool with that. We're hip to those tricks, yes? All right. What's weird about C? I can do no division, can I? 2 does not divide by 3. 6 does not divide by 7. But I say to myself, self, I am not allowed to have that exponent, that irrational down there. What is allowed to be in the denominator? If irrationals aren't allowed in denominators, what is allowed? Rationals. A rational generally means there is no square root. How would I get rid of a square root of 7? What am I allowed to do to fractions that does not change their value, but changes their appearance? I will ask you, what? Multiply. Excellent. I can multiply this as long as I multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same thing, and I will change the look of the fraction, but not its value, correct? And we are all aware of that, which I was going to slide over here and do. 4/5 plus 3/7. I have to do 28 plus 15 35ths, right? 28 35ths is 4/5. Because I multiplied that by 7 and I multiplied that by 7. Is this value the same? Yes. Does it look the same? No. So let's come over here. I know I can multiply this by anything I want, as long as I multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. I'll have the same value, but it will look different. What of this is it that I want to look different? I want that root 7 to look different, don't I? What can I multiply the root of 7 by that will get rid of the root sign? Because that's what's bugging me. If I multiply that by root 7, will that root disappear? Will it? Sure it will, because we know that root 7 times root 7 is the root of 49, and the root of 49 is 7. The root sign disappears, right? So, if I multiply the bottom by root 7, what must I multiply the numerator by? Root 7. Now, you're intelligent young people. Same value numerator, same value denominator. What does that expression equal? 1. If I multiply something by 1, does it change value? No. So is this changing this at all in value? No. Is it changing it in appearance? Yes. And we want it changed in appearance because we don't like that root 7. So what does this become? What's in the numerator now? 2 root 42 over what? 3 times the root of 49. I'm writing it out fully, right? For teaching purposes. 2 root 42 over 3 times the root of 49, which is 7, gets me 2 root 42 over 21. Does 42 simplify? 2 times 3 times 7. Any pairs? No. So this is done. We are allowed to have this, but we cannot divide by an irrational number. Everybody cool? This process is called rationalizing the denominator. And we must do this if we have irrational. I've just put 2 T's. Irrational denominators. Everybody cool? We must do this if we have irrational denominators. It is not an option. Okay? So let's look at D. What is bothering us in D? I don't like the root 6, so what do I got to do? Multiply by what? Root 6 over root 6. And what do I get? 7 root 30 over 14 root 36, which is what we're doing. But in our head, we're probably going to say 14 times 6, right? Which is 84. Now, is that the right answer? You can all multiply. Is that the right answer? It's a yes or no question. Is that right? Is 5 times 6 30? Is the root of 36 6? Is 14 times 6 84? So, I should be hearing 30 people, well, not quite 30 because it snowed. I should be hearing 24 people saying what right now? Yes, that is the right answer. That gets you the 3 out of 4 on that 4-point scale. Because is that the best answer? Of course not. Because Mrs. Bad Crumble would never have let you leave 7 over 84. Because what is that really? Let's pretend we know how to simplify that fraction. Thank you. It is root 30 over 12. That, again, in the real world, that's the only right answer. But when they force me to mark you on that stupid scale, I'd have to get you there to get the 4, the perfect mark. Okay? Everybody good? Technically, of course, in the real world, that would only get you 3 because that's meeting my expectations. There's no way to get 4 on that scale in a math class. But I work with what I have. What's weird about E? Six and 5 aren't divisible. And 50 and 18 are kind of big numbers, aren't they? What should I do? Same thing I should do every single time I look at a question. Simplify first. This becomes 25 times 2, 30 root 2, over. This is 9 times 2, 15 root 2. Now how easy is it? Pretty easy. What's 30 divided by 15? 2. What's root 2 over root 2? This is not a trick question. Root 2 over root 2 is 1. What's 2 times 1? 2. Done. Just because it looks weird doesn't mean it is weird. Why would I put this question here? Because if I wasn't teaching you right now, almost all of you would immediately go times root 18 over root 18 and get this giant number here and be simplifying it. And I can tell who would do that because they do this in their seat when I say that. They move that tiny little bit downwards because they know that they were going to do that. But none of you would have done that, would you? You would have simplified first. Why? Because what do we do every chance we get? Simplify. Now, before we go on, I want to point something out. What's that say? Monomial. What do you notice about every question on this page? They all share one characteristic. The denominators are all monomials. Are there bigger polynomials than monomials? Yes or no? Of course there are. There's binomials, there's trinomials, and bigger. So, that's why I'm spending a day on this with just the monomials. Because the concept will continue, but it becomes different in its application. Okay? So let's run these three. Can I do division here? Remember, coefficients with coefficients, radicals with radicals. Can I do division there? Yeah. Yeah. That is negative 2 root 3. Because 51 over 17 is 3. And negative 2 and 12 over negative 6 is negative 2. Everybody cool? Okay. Does H work? What does H give me? Flip them. Is 1/2. Of course we can. 4 over 8 is 1/2. What's 50 divided by 10? 5. Root 5. Is that written okay? 1/2 times root 5. Is that okay? Yes. How else could we write it that is tidier? Root 5 over 2. Gets rid of the 1. Tidy. What is our goal in math? Tidy. Math is very... right? That's what math is like. I don't like it any more than you do. But that's the way it is. Right? Math is when you clean up your room and your mom comes in and actually opens the closet where all the garbage is. You say, my room's tidy, and your mom says, no, it's not. There's an orange back here that's growing a tree. Okay, what's weird over here? It's written weirdly. What is that really? Root 27 over root 10. Right? Agreed? What should I do right now, like always? Simplify. What there simplifies? Becomes what? 9 times 3. Right? What's the square root of 9? 3 root 3 over root 10. What there is ugly? What? The root 10. How do I get rid of it, Vicky?
Times it by root 10 over root
to get me 3 root what?
30.
Over what?
10.
10. Done diddly-un. Easy, right? It's got a weird name. It sounds complicated. Rationalize the denominator. Blech. What does it really mean? Multiply by 1. Because that's all we're doing. Yo.
When we're showing our work for doing a test or something, do we skip is it okay if we skip the root 100 part at the bottom?
Of course it is. Any questions? Now, let's look at a couple of these before I get you working on your own, because this is all we're doing today. What should I do here first? Simplify. What should I do here first? Simplify. What's weird here? I need to simplify, but then what am I going to multiply by here? What am I going to multiply by here? You could multiply by 3 root 2, but the 3 is okay. So you could only multiply by root 2 if you wanted. But that means that 2 has to distribute. Watch out for that. This is a binomial numerator, so nothing changes. Everybody good? What do you got to be on the lookout for in K? The negative sign. What do you got to be look out for in L? The negative. What do you got to be look out for on A and B at the bottom here? Binomial numerators. So you must distribute. Just like the last assignment I gave you. Holy crap, the last assignment I gave you leads directly into this assignment? It's almost like I planned it, right, Jazz? Yeah. Stop it. And that's it. That's all you're doing today. Everybody good? Now, I did say you had a quiz. Where is it? Your PC 11? On or after Monday, February 11th. What day is it today? February 11th. No, you can write it tomorrow. Because, you're all going to be here anyway. Okay. Surrey, closed. Langley, closed. Mission, closed. MEI, closed. St. John Brebeuf, closed. Us?
Hey, to be fair, it's a lot worse there.
It's a lot worse at St. John Brebeuf.
Okay, maybe not that one.
Right over there.
That's
It's a lot worse in Langley. Right over there.
Wait, does Abish Senior, can they make a decision by themselves?
No. I will see you all tomorrow. Aight? Yeah. Now, I lied. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind an extra step, you could multiply this by 3 root 2 over 3 root 2, which would give you a denominator of 9 root 4, which would give you a denominator of 18. You can do that, but it makes you do an extra step. Because the only thing that bothers us down there is the root 2, not the 3. 3 can be in the denominator. Right? This is okay.